All right, we are back with another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. Today we have Brandon Bateman from the Bateman Collective with us. Brandon is a digital marketing expert focused in real estate, which is super useful because all deals start with the acquisition, with actually finding that deal. So I'm super excited to dive into this. Brandon, thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Gabe. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. I told you before we got on here, we always start with stories. We like to hear how people got to where they are today. I'm sure you got a good one starting a digital marketing company. So why don't you tell us, how'd you get started on real estate?
Yeah, it's a good question. So yeah, I started with a digital marketing company. I was doing digital marketing for all kinds of different companies, focused a lot on technology. So different tech companies, a lot of B2B stuff and everything like that. So that was kind of where I came from. I was doing search marketing, social marketing in those industries. One day I ran into a company here in Utah, that's where I'm from, and are they were interesting because they'd asked me if I could help them find things to buy, not sell things. I'd never done marketing to buy things. I've only done marketing to sell things, like most
Right.
marketers. And this concept of they were trying to buy houses was sort of interesting. This is back in 2017 that I ran into them. And so, anyways, we ran something there, and so this was primarily a wholesaling company, and they took their whole online presence from generating, it was about 100 grand that year in revenue for them, up to about 1.4 million 3 years later, at close to a 5x return on investment. So that was sort of the path that I went through with that company. And after that point, they started referring a whole bunch of different companies to us. So at some point, I looked at my business and I saw we have all these technology companies we work with. We have these real estate companies that we work with. I realized I like the real estate ones a lot more. They're a lot more
Mm.
fun to work with, and they were, I liked the people, I liked the business, and all those kinds of things. So anyways, at some point we kind of cut out everything else and just doubled down in real estate. And then at this point, we just work with real estate investors. We're doing this kind of marketing in over 100 different markets across the United States. Our
Oh,
clients should do about $50 million worth of wholesale assignment fees this year from leads that we generate, and that's what we love to do.
all right. I love it. So you guys, you focus mostly on the residential space. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, our clients are wholesalers, flippers, people building a buy and hold portfolio or selling turnkeys, and hedge funds occasionally.
Oh, wow. Right on. So yeah, I mean, this is, finding a good deal is one of the hardest parts about real estate is finding something that actually pencils because you make your money on the buy. And so it's a super important step. And it's something that a lot of people get wrong. So what are the biggest mistakes? I'm sure people come to you with existing marketing in place. They've maybe been, I don't know, shooting out mailers, doing Google ads, whatever. So they come to you with their marketing. What are the biggest mistakes that you see people doing currently before you take over their marketing practices?
Yeah, it's a good question. And we have a lot of people that come to us after having a lot of success with other channels. And sometimes we have people come to us after having failure with other channels, so I kind of seen it. I think there's definitely a big mindset shift when you're going to do this direct to seller marketing. Across our clients, if they get a deal, it's usually worth for a wholesaler in the United States an average of maybe about $20,000. That highly depends on the market and the individual deal. Obviously, higher price point markets, that's going to be a larger number, and the smaller ones, it's going to be a smaller number. But the mistake I see people making with that is they're just not really willing to spend the money they need to get those deals and recognize the value. Because you're in a really data sparse environment. A lot of companies that market, they spend some money and they get a number of customers, and it's a lot of customers that are worth a small amount of money each.
Yep.
And then it's easier to see a return on investment versus, you can spend 3 grand a month on marketing, and when you get a deal, you'll make 20 grand.
Yeah.
But it's a hard game where a lot of people just aren't really willing to give marketing the consistency that it needs. And a lot of people say like, oh, it didn't work, or it worked and then it stopped working. And like 75-80% of those cases, there's no like actual change. I think of it like they're flipping a coin, and one day they got like two tails in a row. They're like, oh shoot, doesn't work. Coin's broken.
Yep.
When coins just do that sometimes. So we have to recognize we're dealing with a really data sparse environment, and I think that's the difference between our clients that do hundreds of deals a year and those that can't seem to get much traction or consistent monthly deal flow is how much money are they willing to put on the line and ride out inconsistency.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there myself. It's inevitable if you do this long enough, you're going to get into those dry periods where you're doing the same marketing, but you just don't get leads, and it's so easy in that period to just be like, it's not working. I'm throwing my hands up. I'm calling it quits. But I like that you kind of said consistency multiple times over that explanation, because from my own experience, that is really what it takes, is just consistently getting those numbers out there. And you're right, especially with real estate wholesales, it is a high value sale. 20,000 in my market, that's actually a low number. In Seattle,
Oh
20,000
yeah.
is lower. And so when you're looking at something that big, it is, if you're take a step back and you think about the ROI that you get on your marketing spend, you can push up those numbers pretty high. And it's hard for new investors. I feel like I'm going off on a tangent here, but just speaking from my own experience, when I was a new investor, putting out $5,000 a month just seemed like way too much. Like, why am I ever spending this much money? I'm wasting it. But if you're getting $20,000, $50,000 in return, that is not actually that much money. So I'm gonna get off my little soapbox there. Ask you, when you see investors, they're come to you, they're looking to really beef up their digital side, because that's what you guys focus on. What is the first few things that you do to really hone in their processes?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd say there's a few things that you really need to have success with the digital marketing. The first thing a is obviously the lead flow, and a lot of that comes down to selecting the right kind of channels. We work with different channels like PPC and Facebook ads and SEO for our clients, and sometimes we're doing a mix between all three of those, and sometimes we're doing one of those or two of those, sort of dependent on what the client that we're working with needs. But it's kind of figuring out that strategy. And when you're in, like when you're talking about the specific strategy there, like anything that's deep technical expertise, there's a thousand things you have to do right, and if you do one thing wrong, it doesn't work. So that's why people hire us to do it, and make sure that all those things are well taken care of. But after that, the other thing that's important is to have the right acquisitions department. You can generate all the leads you want. If you can't actually close them, then it's not really worth anything. You won't get your return on investment. And interestingly enough, we have worked with a lot of people that like say they're really good at closing, but the numbers don't suggest that they actually are. So we have some teams that we work with that are just really high performance teams, and others that aren't. But it's really rare that we run into someone that says that they're not. That makes sense. So you
Everybody
kind of
thinks
have
they're
to like,
badass.
yeah, that's exactly. But the
That's
numbers don't
funny.
lie. Some people just do so much better than others
Yeah.
when it comes to closing the leads, even once you control for lead quality and market and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, that's the other thing that you have to really nail down is a solid acquisitions team, because this is a competitive game. Like we discussed, you're chasing big checks here. Um, your competitor wants to crush you at that,
Yeah.
and having a world class sales team is not an easy thing to do.
So, in working with those sales teams, what have you kind of noticed to be the it factor that kind of distinguishes those who say they're good but they don't have the numbers, and those who say they're good and they're actually closing deals?
Yeah, it's like I fed you the questions to ask me, because we did because we've done this analysis, because we collect all the closing data from our clients, and what we do is all the people who close at a top 10%, we interview the company owner, we interview the leader of the acquisitions team, we interview the acquisitions people, and we learn everything about their processes. And then we also interview our worst closers, and we look for everything that the best closers are doing that the worst closers aren't.
Uh-huh.
And not just, this isn't just a list like, somebody did this and it was good. This is like the things that most people have in common.
Yeah.
And there are three things. The first one is urgency. They treat this with extreme urgency. Like our clients that don't close as well, it's like a lead comes in, they run some comps, figure it out, call the seller, upset when they don't answer the phone. Our clients that nail this, they call within 60 seconds. They call usually for at least the first week, more than 10 touch points every day.
Every
Through
day?
emails,
Holy
text
shit.
messages, phone calls. This is really competitive stuff. And a lot of our leads start with search marketing, where if you look at the average lag between when the lead comes in and when it gets contracted, it's the shortest of any marketing channel. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a really highly urgent thing. And they treat that with appointments too. They don't just say like, "Hey, when are you free for an appointment?" And the seller says, "Oh, next week." and they show up next week and it's under contract.
Right.
They say like, I'm
I've
on my
had
way
that
to your
happen
house
to
right
me.
now.
Super
Like, do you have
frustrating.
time?
Yep. I'm outside your window. Where are you?
Yeah, exactly. So they treat like urgency with everything. They basically, it's like a race to the deal. The second thing is assuming motivation. Like our clients do really well. They tend to not get leads and then just feel them out on the phone, or like a common practice with cold call and stuff like that is to like throw a price out and see how the seller reacts to it and decide like, are they the right thing, or are they the right seller. Our clients that do really well, they just assume that every lead is motivated. What that means is they want to get in the living room with that person, they want to spend some time with them, they're willing to spend hours with them before they really know if they're motivated or not, because there's a lot of people who are motivated but don't sound motivated. And our clients that just go on more appointments, they go on about 4 times as many appointments. Our top producers, 4 times as many appointments for the number of leads they get, and they do twice as many deals. So they do waste more time on appointments. Like it takes them twice as many appointments to get to a deal, but at the end of the day, they do twice as many deals because they do 4 times as many appointments. Because when they talk to the person on the phone, they don't say, "Oh, they said they want 250 for their house, and I think it's worth 220." So they're not that motivated. I'm not going to go buy. They take upon themselves this role. I am a negotiator, and my job is to make this deal happen. So assuming motivation is huge. I noticed kind of, this is a little bit more fluffy, but some of the acquisitions people that we talk with that do really, really well, they're like that gambler that's like going back to Vegas. They just lost their life savings, and they're trying to borrow some money, and they're just thinking like, this is the time, because they have that relentless optimism.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing with lead management. 90% of leads aren't good, or they're not going to close. But if you,
Frustratingly so, right?
yeah, but if you believe that and you know that and you assume that, then when there is that 10%, you miss it. Versus these people who did really, really well, they just had like this belief that the seller must be motivated. This one's going to be the deal. And that optimism was just hard to shake. Like they
Yep.
just assumed it. So that was versus like the ones that didn't do as well. They had all these excuses. The lead, they weren't actually that motivated. I don't think they actually need this. I think they're a better fit for retail, whatever it is. And it's a kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you won't contract the ones that you don't believe are really good.
That's funny.
Um,
I mean, so far you said urgency and assumed motivation. I'm interested in the third, but
mhm.
I am not an excellent sales guy by any means. I'm good at real estate. I'm good at, making teams and everything, but I'm not great at sales. But my partner of mine, his name's Martin. He is excellent at sales, and that's exactly what he does. He's super urgent, and he always thinks something's going to close. Even when he tells me and I'm, dude, that's not going to close. He's like, no, it's fine. It's going to close. And he just keeps going, keeps going.
Yep.
So that so far you're ringing very true with everything from my experience. So what is number three?
Yeah. Well, number three is quality first impressions. Sometimes investors have this game where like the lead comes in and then a VA is the one who reaches out to them, or like a lead manager or something like that. Statistically, our clients that have an acquisitions person, like a closer, reach out initially to the seller, they do significantly better. The theory behind that being that your first impression, like you might not get the contract until whenever you get the contract, but people decide mentally, emotionally, if they're going to do business with you, often within the first 60 seconds or 2 minutes of your conversation, based on the impression that you build. And some person just kind of reading off a script doesn't do that super well. You could say like, there's a common methodology of saying like, how many dollars per hour are different business activities worth? Like, leadership is worth this much, and if you're just kind of filling in data, that's worth this much. And everybody kind of does a wide variety of things. I would argue that if you have like a good quality lead that comes in, that very first moment you spend talking to that lead is one of the highest dollar per hour activities in the business. And people sometimes have the person who makes that call paid less than their janitor.
Mm,
And these are like huge money making opportunities. So our clients that kind of put their best foot forward, the best person on the initial call, they don't count it as like, well, the lead might not be good, so we don't want to waste that person's time. They recognize that you need that quality right at the beginning. They just tend to close significantly better versus those that kind of put an intermediary step there.
yeah. Man, that's and I feel like that's doubly so on the commercial side. Because I've hired VAs to do outbound cold calls, and they just made zero, like I made zero sales. I hired them for probably 3 months just doing cold calls, and they got nothing. And when I would do cold calls earlier in my career, and I feel like if you're the owner and you have knowledge and you are the one making the decision, people really understand that, and they're willing to stay on the phone, and they get a better impression. And so that makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, so you said
Absolutely.
urgency, assumed motivation, and quality first impressions. Those are the three things that really make a sales team stand out.
Yeah, with digital marketing leads specifically, because I mean, if you're looking at people going direct to seller, you don't need all that with cold calling. You don't need all that with direct mail. But the thing is, we've worked with plenty of teams that close really well from other channels, and then
Mm,
they don't close well from digital marketing leads. So these are
yeah.
kind of the things that we teach our clients. Like, I mean, it's important sales principles overall, but if you treated every cold call lead like that, then like in like the wholesale industry, I'm sure commercial is different because those deals are huge. But if you know, in residential, if you treat every lead like a digital marketing lead on cold call, then you spend so much time chasing nothing, right? That's why a lot of companies have these other practices where they're not doing things like that, because other channels kind of necessitate that because they have a lot more leads and they're not as high quality. Digital marketing is different because it's an inbound form of marketing. It's people coming to you and it's intent driven for the most part. So these people actually have demonstrated that they want to sell their house. So it's yeah, it's just a different kind of lead. So you kind of have to reprogram your team. It's really hard for a salesperson to play both sides, like working with really bad leads and really good leads, because you get used to the leads being bad and then you miss the good one.
Yep.
So because the volume's different too, you know, like we've had clients we work with that they have 25 cold call leads coming in every day. And then if they're lucky, they get one lead from online marketing.
Yep.
They'll
Yep.
they'll close more in a month from the one lead each day from online marketing than they will from the 25 cold call ones each day sometimes. But it's in the midst of everything else, it's so easy to miss it.
Yeah. That makes sense. And so you guys, you have no experience doing this on the commercial side, right?
Well, just a little bit.
A little
I
bit.
can tell you the extent of my experience. We've run some campaigns somewhat successfully, where our clients have contracted several properties. Commercial is a little bit of an interesting game though, because the total search volumes, like the number of people searching for ways to sell a strip mall or an apartment complex or you know whatever it is online, is just significantly smaller than it is with
Mm,
residential. Both because there's less people who own those things, and because they're less likely to go to Google as
yeah.
a way
They
to
go
find
to
a
people they
buyer.
know, they go to brokers and whatever like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
but they do. Some people do, and we have generated leads, and we have generated pretty good leads with that. The real issue with it is they are all over the place
Mm.
geographically, because I mean, you're. I imagine you probably own properties in a lot of places that aren't where you live,
Yeah,
and
actually, we only look out of state. We don't buy in Washington State, so we own Texas, Arkansas, Illinois, all over the place, but not in Washington.
yeah. So with digital marketing, you can only target based on where someone is. So I could
Oh, I see what you're
target
saying. Right.
Washington, trying
Yep.
to find Washington apartment buildings, and then you could respond to my ad, and you've got everything but Washington,
Yeah.
right? So that's really common with commercial to own stuff in different states than where you live. So that's what we notice is it's really hard to control the locations of the leads. But we do have clients that do okay with it if they're really flexible as for where the leads come in. They're just looking for a good deal, but they don't really care what state it's in or something. You can get good leads that way.
Makes sense. All right. Well, hey, I just took a peek at the clock. We have gone through our time, so it's time to go through into the quick question round. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's rock and roll. It starts with education. I'm a big bookie, so give me two book recommendations or any form of media, YouTube, whatever. Two recommendations, one for general life wisdom, one for real estate specific.
Ooh, good question. I'm gonna skip the real estate one because
Fair
I don't read
enough.
real estate books. I'm the weirdo marketing. I can give you marketing books if you're interested. The As for non-real estate, one I read recently, and we're actually reading as a company now that I really love, is Multipliers.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if you've heard of that one. Great leadership book.
Yep, I heard of it. Multipliers. I haven't read it myself, but I've heard good reviews. All right,
Yeah,
that moves us to the next
it's a good one.
question. This is for your younger self. So let's go back to the Brandon who is just getting started in digital marketing. He just got his first job out there. Go to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
I'd say focus. For a long time, I worked with a whole bunch of different industries, and where my business really grew was when I focused on a single industry or a single problem to solve. And I think it's a hard thing to do because I always looked at it marginally. Like if I do that, there's this huge cost of that because most of my opportunities are not in that space. But what I didn't realize is when you really focus, how many more opportunities will manifest themselves
Yep.
within that particular focus that you have.
Yep.
Um, so, anyways, that's that. I everybody gave me that advice, so I probably wouldn't listen to myself because everybody gave me that advice for years. and I never did it. And I actually accidentally did it by just having a ton of referrals come to me in this space. And that side of our business became just as big as the other side of the business in a matter of 6 months or so. And then even then, I still tried to keep the other side alive. And then this real estate side just kept on growing and growing and growing until the other side was so negligibly small in comparison that it just wasn't worth sustaining. But I could have gone a lot farther faster if I just listened to the advice earlier.
It is so hard to focus at the beginning because you always want all of the opportunity out there. But man, if you guys are just starting out on your journey, try to just hone in on one thing because you really do, you move much faster when you're focused. It's just hard. It's hard because there's so much opportunity out there. But
Mhm.
focus, that's a good one. Let's move on to the next question. This is Superman strength. We are all gifted with unique skills that we give to this world. So, what is your Superman strength?
I'm really great with data and logic, understanding numbers and using those to make decisions. It's one thing we help our clients with all the time, like making decisions about different marketing channels and budgets and how to optimize campaigns and all that kind of thing.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, you're in the best industry for that. So, that's a good strength to have here. Next one. This is for mentors. None of us are islands. We all stand on the shoulders of giants. So, who is one mentor who has contributed to your career?
Well, this is a good question. One mentor. Honestly, that first client that I took in real estate, you, if you're familiar with the wholesaling space, you might know of. His name is Cody Hoffheim, and he was a co-founder of Wholesaling Inc., which was at the time the largest coaching platform in that side of the real estate industry. So that's why we got really lucky. Our first client was
One of the big
Cody,
guys.
and yeah, and he was able to send us tons of other clients and set us up for success. But yeah, I'd say he's been a mentor of mine, and like most of what I've learned about the real estate space, I've learned from him, and through working with his company, and then also the help that he's given me along the way, and and yeah, he's been there as I've grown a team and all those things. I've kind of just always been a few years behind him, which is
All
good.
right. Well, shout out to Cody. Thank you very much for helping Brandon get to where he is today. That leads us to the second to last question. This is tools. Tools form the backbone of every business. So, what is one tool that your business relies on every single day?
There are so many.
I was going to say this is a unique one for you because I'm sure you got more than the average show.
Oh my goodness, you should see our software bill. I was appalled when I found out a little while ago how much money we spend on software. I didn't know it was possible. Let's see. HubSpot is a good one that's kind of pretty core to our business. We use like the sales CRM component, and we use it for like managing our clients and stuff like that. So what we're primarily built on would be like HubSpot, and then on the project management side, Monday.
Mm,
If you've heard of Monday.com.
love it,
So
man.
that's kind of like the two of the core pieces.
Monday is I've gone through a lot of CRMs, and I finally landed on Monday. I absolutely love Monday. Everybody's got their own flavor, their own take on what they like in it, but whew, Monday's pretty sweet.
I like it too. Yeah.
All right, that moves us to the very last question. You've given us a lot of good advice. I'm sure people want to reach out, learn a little bit more about digital marketing. So, what is the best way that they can get in contact with you?
Yeah, good question. The best way is probably through our website. It's batemancollective.com. You can feel free to reach out there. If anybody is interested in motivated seller lead gen, you can reach out there and get in touch with someone on my team who can kind of do that discovery call and see if it's really a good fit for you and what kind of results you might be able to expect and all that kind of thing for your individual market and situation. Um, and and yeah, that's the reason most people reach out to us. So that's how you can find us.
All right, sounds good. BatemanCollective.com. I'll put that in the show notes. So if y'all want to reach out to Brandon, just click a little more in the description. It'll pull down the full description, and in there you can find Brandon's URL. All right, Brandon, that wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Gabe. Had a great time.
Absolutely. For everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me, Gabe at realestatinvestingclub.com. If you want to show us some love, just give us a subscribe and like on or review on Apple. That's the best way to support us. Other than that, hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic way. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed putting it on, and we're able to pull some actionable advice that you can apply in your own investing today in the field. Before you go, we have a gift for you. If you're a new investor looking to get started or an established investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you, available on our website. This ebook will cover how I was able to create both active and passive income in real estate with very little money to start with. In it, I will address the 3 most often cited obstacles new and veteran investors run into by showing you how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance a deal with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. And if you get the ebook today, I am throwing in a bundle of bonuses, 7 of them to be exact. The first one will be the off-market lead generation blueprint, which will take you through the exact systems and processes we use to generate off-market leads like clockwork, which is the most important skill when it comes to creating wealth in real estate. The second bonus is the A to Z REI systems and vendors guide, which will allow you to peek under the hood of our business and see the exact tools, systems, and even the vendors we use to see the success that we do. And the third bonus is the top 100 best performing keywords pack, which will give you the exact keywords we use to target motivated sellers online using PPC ads. The fourth bonus is our contracts bundle for wholesaling and renting real estate, which will give you access to all the contracts we use in the field to execute all different types of transactions. After that is the Investors Quick Analysis Calculator and Offer Tool, which will allow you to quickly calculate whether a deal is an actual deal and will allow you to create an offer automagically from those calculations. This is a lot of bonuses that I said. I'm just going to keep going down the list. Number 6 is the Investors Daily Success Tracker, which is a tracker you can use to ensure you are taking the right actions day in and day out to reach your financial goals in real estate. And the last bonus is the Wholesalers Template for Quick Assignment Cash, which will give you the templates we use to present our wholesale deals professionally and efficiently to our buyers. Whew, that is a bundle. So it's a mouthful. You get all of those bonuses for free when you download the ebook. All we charge is the admin cost to run the show. So if you're interested in the ebook and the bonus bundle, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Click on Get the Ebook Bundle at the top of the page to take advantage of that deal. And with that said, I hope you have a fantastic day, an even better week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.